introduce Andrea Ketchmark, who some of you know. Andrea is our Director of Trail Development at the headquarters in Lowell, and she's happy to be here. She's been on staff for well, a year and a couple of months now, right? No, just a year and 8, yeah. Okay, so time flies. Yeah. And Andrea's primary job is support of chapter capacity building. So the kinds of things we were talking about a minute ago in terms of advocacy, if it was an interest of the Chief Noonday Chapter to have an advocacy training, that's something that we work through Andrea on. We come down and do kinds of things that Steve was talking about. So anyway, just a couple of quick follow-ups. You know, in my view, Steve was spot on. You know, our biggest problem is that nobody knows who we are. Nobody knows what we do. You know, a lot of the problems we do have would go away or at least be diminished if we had a lot better name recognition. If we didn't have to spend the first 5 minutes of conversation explaining who we are, you know, what we do. If we didn't have to market the North Country Trail by mentioning the opposition, not the opposition, the competition in it. You know, and by that I mean, you know, and you know this, you do this. You know, every time somebody asks you, well, what's the North Country Trail? Well, it's kind of like the Appalachian Trail, only it's twice as long. You know? When's the last time you heard a Coca-Cola executive saying, well, you know, it's kind of like, you know, the Pepsi Cola, but it's in a red can. You know, I mean, I don't think so, you know. But that's how we do it, and it makes sense, and it's the way people can make connections, because they've heard of the AT. They know about what the Appalachian Trail is. You know, one key fact is important to keep in mind that you know, we need collectively as a North Country Trail Association to pat our backs on, is that there's more trail on the ground right now in terms of the North Country National Scenic Trail than the Appalachian Trail is long. We've got more trail on the ground than the AT, and the AT's been around for 100 years.
90.
Close. Way to go. You know, it's pretty cool. Now, you know, of course, we got that much more to go to finish the trail, but you know, it's the kind of thing that you know, we celebrate. So, anyway, just a couple of quick things. Eric asked me to address a couple of questions. You know, you know what? Before we do that, just back to the marketing thing. You know, this is a need. This is a felt need that we've had as an organization. You know, to do a better job of you know, what marketers call branding our trail. You know, you hear us talk a little bit about the Red Plaid Nation. You know, the notion of you know, the North Country Trail connects our America's northern heartlands, and we're kind of connected in this red plaid sort of a way. You know, and that's something that you know, we're trying to hang our hat on a little bit more and more. You know, you look at the iconic things that really mean the North Country to people, and you know, you've got loons, which are pretty overused. I mean, every scary movie that ever came out, whether it was in the deepest desert or the heart of the Amazon, has loons calling, you know, go figure. Anyway, you know, white pines, a North Star, you know, it's another kind of a thing. Well, you know, the red plaid's another way that links people into this mix, if you will, of what makes the North Country special. You know, the North Country Trail doesn't follow the spine of a mountain range. You know, it doesn't follow a, you know, historic route, although pieces of it do. You know, what it does do is unite, you know, the unique aspects of America's northern heartlands, you know. We don't sing Dixie up here. I wish we did, at least our own version of it, because that'd be a heck of a brand for us, you know, the stars and bars and the, you know, the Confederate battle flag. I mean, that says it all in terms of branding the South. We don't have that up here. We got red plaid. We're going to work with that. So. It's the kind of thing that we're going to move forward with. As Larry mentioned, we've got a strategic plan that our board has developed that we're working on that has a key element in it while I'm dealing with the marketing aspects of it. So, you know, hopefully we'll be able to get some time and resources devoted to carrying that out. But just a couple of other quick things in terms of celebration. You know, one of the things that Steve mentioned, that you know, the thing that every time, the gee whiz thing when we walk into, you know, a congressman's office or a senator's office in Washington, you know, the one thing that we can get a wow out of them is, you know, each year is how many hours our volunteers have given, how much those hours have grown, and the increased value of them. I mean, the value of the time that you reported last year, you know, was about $1.4 million on the part of the North Country Trail Association. That's not something to sneeze at. So when we walk into Senator Levin's office, he expects to hear that it's gone up another 14% like it did last year. And that's because of what you do. That's your sweat equity. And it also points to the importance of reporting those hours. I know it's a pain sometimes, but you know, and I know many of you probably work way more hours than you report. And some of you might think, I'm not going to report my hours to the government. Okay, but it's important. And you know, Steve mentioned it. It's important for us too. So those are some pretty cool statistics. A very significant proportion of the total investment that Steve reported on the part of the national trails system was given by you all. We're right up there in the top 4 or 5 you know, trail organizations in terms of what we give, and we're nowhere near the biggest organization involved. So that's pretty cool. The last thing on marketing, you know, you all have thankfully stepped up to host our national conference next year. You know, and first of all, thank you. You know, thank you. It's a huge investment of time and effort on your part, and a commitment on your part, for which you know, we're just really grateful. It's also a tremendous marketing opportunity. We got a national conference going on in the backyard of some key you know, communities in Michigan, some key population centers in Michigan. You know, you won't have an opportunity like this to engage your neighbors in the North Country Trail again until it comes around again 7 years from now, and that's if you want to host it again at that point. It's a great opportunity. One of the things that we do at Durham Conference is what we call Community Benefit Night, and to a large degree the program for that night is designed to encourage your neighbors and your friends to come and experience a fun evening that, you know, gives them a chance to learn a little bit more about the association and about the trail and so on. So I really encourage you to use this conference as a marketing opportunity. Let's see, Eric sent me a couple of questions. One had to do with certified miles in Michigan. There are about 1,150 total trail miles in the state of Michigan, more miles than any other state. There's about 594 of them that are on the books as certified. Within the Chief Noonday Chapter area, you have 45 miles on our books that are off-road. Of the roughly 89, I think, miles that are in your chapter's jurisdiction, if you will. So that's real consistent with the whole trail. About half of it's done, so to speak. And of those, about 22 and change